What's up, YouTube? This is Morgan, also known as Jew, and I know I've had a bit of time since my last video. I've actually been dealing with an ear infection, and I've been really sick from that. I haven't really been able to do a whole lot. So I apologize for the lack of videos. I'm going to try to record a NFL predictions video before the actual games start, and I'll probably get that out at some point during the 1 o'clock games, which is a little late, but I didn't get to be able to do during the Thursday games because that's when I was dealing with going to the doctors and whatever. But enough about my boring life. This is going to be the next steps for the Georgia Tech athletics program, as well as just the Georgia Tech football program in general, as they just made it a hire of a new athletic director. So yeah, without further ado, after a long-awaited time, let's get into it. So on this Friday, Georgia Tech actually made the announcement of the hire of a new athletic director, Batt from the University of Alabama. This was a hire that was named by President Cabrera very early into the search, and obviously the search for a new athletic director was more important than looking for a new football coach. Todd Stansbury was not a bad athletic director, but he tied his name with Jeff Collins, and he stuck with it, and that ultimately proved to be his demise at Georgia Tech. Now, this hire for Georgia Tech does bring in questions for the head coaching position. It does give a little bit more reason for why Brent Key can't get the job. Obviously, Batt knows him from his time at Alabama. Batt getting there in 2017. Brent Key being there for a few years. And also, it brings in another name that might have been a little bit off our radar, but not in terms of tier of hiring for head coach. But it also brings in offensive coordinator at Bama, Bill O'Brien, who has ties to Georgia Tech when Jeff O'Leary was our head coach. And also the Bama ties with Batt as well. He has been a proven football coach, especially at the collegiate level, bringing back a Penn State program after the whole Sandusky scandal up there, as well as he was an NFL coach. And yeah, the decisions he made as a front office guy weren't necessarily great for an NFL team. The coaching was there as they won 4 AFC South championships. And it just brings in another guy that has Bama Georgia Tech ties that could be an option for a head coach. Now, another head coach option that just came open that will fly very under the radar, and I don't think Georgia Tech will truly hire him, is Matt Rule from the Carolina Panthers. He built a Temple program that became very successful and ultimately led to the pieces for Jeff Collins to succeed relatively there, at least enough to get a job at Georgia Tech as a head coach when he didn't deserve it. And also built a Baylor program that is falling now, but when he was there, they made a quick 2-year jump from a 1-win team to a 1-loss team within 2-3 years. And his NFL tenure wasn't great, but he knows that he can coach college, and it's very proven. These guys are proven college coaches. It also brings up a question for the basketball program, which a lot of people aren't. Batt has a lot of experience with football, or with basketball program, as he was given a lot of reins for Bama's program, which has rebuilt themselves within the past few years to be a top-level program. And I believe with the way that the coaching is currently going with Josh Pastner, I love Josh Pastner, and he's a great guy, but the offensive production and the recruiting, or lack thereof, is proving to be very questionable, and honestly, it really hurts. It's really hurting Tech right now, and I think they're going to have a very poor season. Once it gets closer to basketball season, I'm going to be doing a lot more deep dives into basketball. But in terms of the football hire, Batt has a lot of time throughout the end of the season. Tech still has a chance to win the Coastal, too, which is crazy to think about. Going into the season, we were projected to finish bottom of the Coastal. We have 2 games against Virginia and Virginia Tech, who both are lackluster programs as of this season. And they're both very, very winnable games. We also have Miami left on the schedule, which has proven they're not as tough as everybody thought they were going to be. And the only really tough team right now is UNC, and they're in the latter end of the schedule. So the Coastal is still very winnable, as well as a bowl game in general. With the 2 Virginia wins, for Virginia Tech, if we win both of those games, we're sitting at 5-3. And we're 1 win away from a bowl game. And that's honestly successful for how the season started and how the season was projected to go. With that being said, I feel like this athletic director hire offers more for Brent Key to become a head coach. more than just on feeling and like how this season is very emotional. But also, J Batt might like the guy so much because of that Bama. Nobody hates Brent Key. It's more just, can he make the right hire? And ultimately, with this, if you tie yourself to the right football hire, you're going to go a long way in terms of an athletic director gig. So, yeah, that's where my thoughts are on what's next for Georgia Tech, at least with this new athletic director hire with J Batt. I hope it fixes the football program for the long term and also helps rebuild the basketball program. He also does really well with fundraising, which is really nice to see. So fundraising can be helpful. But yeah, so those are my thoughts. That's going to be the end of this video. If you like this video, like the video. If Georgia Tech content or other sports content that's all around this page interests you, please subscribe, turn on notifications, leave a comment on anything you'd like to see me talk about, react to, anything like that. I'm wearing my Demaryius Thomas jersey. It looks weird because it's a Broncos jersey, but it's Demaryius Thomas. Rest in peace, Georgia Tech legend. So yeah, I'm out. Peace.